South Carolina Republican strategist Chip Felkel and Basil Smikle, former executive director of the New York State Democratic Party. Good to have you both here. Gentlemen, Chip, if I could begin with you. From everything you see and hear on the ground in South Carolina, will Nikki Haley close the gap at all with Donald Trump tomorrow?
I think she'll close it. Obviously, she's not going to win. I think she'll probably get within 20 points, maybe. She's run an aggressive campaign, but I don't think she'll get much closer than that.
Basil, so Haley, of course, very publicly vowing to stay in the race, win or lose tomorrow. In fact, she's already planning stops in Colorado, Michigan, Minnesota, Utah starting on Sunday. You see the map there. In the simplest terms, and it is, of course, her right to keep running, why do you believe she's staying in? Is it insurance policy for the GOP if Trump falters, or is it something else?
Well, it could be a couple of things, and they're not mutually exclusive. She could be laying the groundwork for a potential 2028 campaign, as others have said. She could be, making the argument now that she could make later that she was the one that was trying to stop Donald Trump and trying to bring the Republican Party back to where, to the party that she knows and was running in 10 years ago. But there's also this other issue of whether or not the donors, particularly the large donors, will actually see a path for her and try to continue to fund her going forward. If she loses those kinds of donors, she really does lose the narrative, and then operationally, she loses the ability to travel to all of these states and actually do that kind of groundwork. So I think both things can be true, but for her to be able to make the case to anyone that she should go forward, she's going to have to get the support of a lot of deep pockets to be able to do so.
Chip, we already know reproductive rights are already a weak spot, to say the least, for Republicans. And amid tomorrow's primary, you're seeing Republicans, including Trump himself, rushing to say they support IVF after the Alabama Supreme Court ruled that embryos are babies. I want to play what Trump just said at his rally. Have a listen.
I strongly support the availability of IVF for couples who are trying to have a precious little beautiful baby. I support it. The Republican Party should always be on the side of the miracle of life and the side of mothers and fathers and beautiful little babies.
The issue, as you know, though, Chip, is that Republicans are not seen by many voters as on the side of women's right to choose, right, when and how they have babies. And I wonder, even with these strong statements in support of IVF, given it was obviously Trump's decisions that overturned Roe v. Wade, is this an issue of association for Republicans here, right? That particularly women voters and others will look at this and say, here's one more thing, right, I have to worry about with Republicans in power.
I think you're right there. We already know that abortion is going to be a big issue in the fall with even Republican women. So this was, and unfortunately for Haley, I think she teed this up for Trump with her stumbling the other day in terms of how she responded. So this is Trump seizing the moment to try to get back or push back a little in terms of what's already going to be a big issue for Republicans against Biden.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, because Haley's answer seemed to at least agree with the point from the Supreme Court ruling, the Alabama Supreme Court ruling, that embryos were, in effect, minors, were children. As you know, Basil, Democrats, of course, use Roe v. Wade to motivate voters in the midterms, seemed to work, and in a whole host of other special elections since then. How are Democrats looking at this? I've already seen very strong statements from Biden and others seeming to capitalize on this.
No, I think Democrats are right to seize on it immediately. I think what you do is two things. One, you can attach the most extreme policies in different parts of the country to any Republican, right? Because there's some that are going to not be so draconian, others more so. And I think it doesn't matter. You attach a Republican to the most extreme and use that and amplify that for the rest of the country. But also, I think, and it is an important point, that Democrats can argue that if you don't like these policies, if you have Donald Trump back in the White House and a Republican Senate and House, you better believe that these policies can become nationalized. And that's a really strong talking point, because I would imagine that over the last several decades, Republicans wanted to do a few things, right? Get their judges, get conservative judges on the bench, flip state houses, which a lot of them were during the Obama years. Democrats lost 1,000 seats. But now you have these states making these very extreme policies, and those are policies that even Republicans can't embrace. That's a problem for them.
There's already a national ban, legislation for a national ban on the table that many Republicans speak about openly. Basil, Chip, thanks so much to both of you. Lots of political developments to watch this weekend. And we will have special live coverage of tomorrow's South Carolina primary here on CNN. That begins at 4 p.m. Eastern Time with Aaron and Wolf. Out front next tonight, an incredible new image of the moon taken just before